The city of Nova Haven never
She's
slept.
not what she seems.
It was a human
What do
city
you mean?
built on alien soil. A place where metal towers reached the clouds and neon lights covered the night like false stars. But behind that bright beauty, fear lived quietly in the dark corners. In a small, broken house at the edge of the alien district, two sisters hid. Their skin shimmered faintly purple under the flickering light. The elder sister, Lyra, pressed her back against the cold wall, listening to the distant sound of boots and engines. Her younger sister, Mira, no older than 17, sat close to her, shivering. "Lyra," Mira whispered, her voice small. "They're searching every house now. They'll find us." Lyra's heart pounded. "No, they won't. Stay quiet. Don't make a sound." She brushed a strand of silver hair from Mira's face. "Whatever happens, I'll protect you. I promise." Outside, the sound grew louder, engines stopping, soldiers shouting. The building shook as a metal door was kicked open down the street. They were getting closer. Suddenly, the front door burst open. A beam of white light cut through the dusty room. "Stay where you are," a human voice shouted. Soldiers in dark armor entered with rifles raised. Their visors glowed red. Lyra instantly stepped in front of her sister. "Please!" she cried, her voice trembling. "She's innocent. She didn't do anything." The nearest soldier pushed her back roughly. "Quiet, alien," he barked. "You both are under arrest for treason and data theft against the Human Alliance." Mira shook her head, terrified. "No, I don't even know what you're talking about." The leader of the unit, a tall man with cold eyes and a scar across his cheek, stepped forward. "We have orders. You are both suspects. Take them." Lyra fell to her knees. "Please, she's just a girl. She's never even left this house. You're making a mistake." But no one listened. Two soldiers grabbed Mira by the arms. She screamed as they dragged her toward the door. Lyra lunged forward, trying to pull her sister back, but a soldier struck her with the butt of his rifle. She fell to the floor, blood trickling from her lip. "Lyra," Mira cried out, reaching toward her sister as the soldiers pulled her away. Lyra tried to stand, but her legs gave way. "Don't take her. Please, she's innocent." The words echoed through the narrow street as neighbors peered from windows, afraid to interfere. The soldiers pushed Mira into a black hover vehicle. The door slammed shut, and in a flash of blue light it lifted into the air and vanished into the night sky. The silence that followed was heavy. Only the soft sound of Lyra's sobs remained. She crawled to the spot where her sister had been taken, her hands shaking. For a long moment she stayed there, staring at the empty street. Then her eyes hardened. She wiped the tears away. "I'll find you, Mira," she whispered. "I swear I will." Across the street, in the shadows of a half-broken building, a man watched everything. His name was Ethan Vale, an undercover human officer assigned to the alien district. He had seen many arrests before, but something about this one felt wrong. The girl's terror wasn't the fear of a criminal. It was the fear of someone who truly didn't understand why she was being taken. And the older sister, the desperation in her voice, it didn't sound fake. Ethan narrowed his eyes. He tapped his comm device. "Target secured," a voice said in his ear. "Return to base." He hesitated. "Commander," he said slowly, "what's the charge against them exactly?" A cold reply came back. "Classified. Just follow orders, Vale." The line went dead. Ethan stood there for a moment, staring at the sky where the hover vehicle had disappeared. He didn't like classified answers. He had seen this pattern before. Arrests with no record, prisoners who never returned, evidence that vanished overnight. Something deep inside him whispered that tonight's arrest wasn't justice. It was a cover-up. Back inside the small house, Lyra sat alone. The soldiers had left, leaving broken furniture and scattered memories. She picked up a small pendant from the floor, Mira's necklace, glowing faintly with alien crystal light. She held it to her chest, eyes full of pain. "They think we're nothing," she murmured softly. "Just aliens. Just experiments." Her voice grew stronger. "But they don't know what I'll do to get you back." Outside, thunder rolled across the night sky. Somewhere far above, in a prison ship orbiting Earth's second moon, Mira sat in a cold cell, clutching her hands together, whispering her sister's name, and from the distance, Ethan Vale looked back once more at the ruined house. "Please, she's innocent," he repeated under his breath. He didn't know it yet. But that single cry for mercy would be the beginning of something far greater than an arrest. It would uncover the truth behind the human alliance's darkest secret and test what it truly means to be human. The rain fell hard over Nova Haven that night, washing the blood and dust from the streets. But it couldn't wash away Ethan Vale's unease. He sat inside his hover car, parked under a flickering streetlight, replaying the moment in his mind. The purple alien girl crying for her sister, her voice breaking the silence of war. Please, she's innocent. Those words had followed him like ghosts. Ethan had seen plenty of arrests during his years as an undercover officer for the Human Alliance Security Division. He'd caught smugglers, spies, and killers, but something about this case was different. The younger sister, Mira, looked terrified, not guilty. The older one, Lyra, looked desperate, not dangerous. He couldn't stop thinking about it. He opened his wrist communicator and typed in Mira's ID number from the arrest record. But the screen flashed red. File not found, he frowned. That's impossible. He tried again using her DNA code. Same result. Access denied. Ethan leaned back in his seat. Since when are civilian arrests marked as classified? He muttered. Something wasn't right. He felt it deep in his bones. Later that night, he entered the division base, a gray concrete building buzzing with security drones and holographic scanners. The air smelled of oil and metal. As he walked through the hallway, other officers nodded at him, unaware that Ethan's mind was miles away. He stepped into the intelligence room where bright blue data screens lined the walls. Officer Vale, said Sergeant Dax, his commanding officer. You're late for debrief. Ethan straightened. Sorry, sir. I was reviewing last night's arrest. Dax gave a lazy grin. That alien girl? The purple one who wouldn't shut up? Don't waste your time. Orders came from top command where we hand her to Research Division by morning. Research Division? Ethan asked. She's a civilian, not a soldier. Dax shrugged. Doesn't matter. The Alliance wants results. You know how it works. Aliens get caught, scientists get busy. He laughed, sipping his synthetic coffee. Ethan didn't laugh. Sir, do you have her file? I tried to access it, but it's locked. Dax's smile faded a little. You asking too many questions, Vale? He leaned closer. Drop it. Some orders aren't meant to be questioned. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. His mind kept showing him Mira's terrified eyes. He remembered her voice. I didn't do anything. He turned on his screen and connected to the restricted archives using his personal code, something he wasn't supposed to do. He scanned the command log, searching for the arrest order. There it was, Subject 47A and 47B, alien origin. Capture alive. Sent to Division R, no details, no crimes. Just a red seal classified by High Council. He dug deeper and finally found something hidden in the metadata. The order didn't come from the Security Division. It came from Bioweapons Research Unit 9. Ethan froze. Bioweapons? He had heard rumors. Alien test subjects disappearing, secret labs, DNA experiments. But he never believed them. Until now. He looked at Mira's faint image from the arrest. Young, small, scared. And the thought hit him hard. She wasn't a criminal. She was a test subject. At dawn, Ethan visited the detention bay. 2 guards stood outside, bored and half asleep. He flashed his badge and said, routine check. Inside, rows of cells stretched into the shadows. Most were empty. At the far end, he found her, Mira, sitting quietly on the floor. Her knees were pulled to her chest, her eyes red from crying. When she saw him, she flinched. I'm not here to hurt you, Ethan said softly, lowering his weapon. She didn't reply, only stared, confused. I need to ask you something, he continued. Why are they after you and your sister? Mira shook her head slowly. We didn't do anything. My sister just fixed machines. I just followed her. They came one night and her voice cracked. They said we stole something. But we didn't, Ethan sighed. Do you know anything about Division R? Mira frowned. Division R? That's where they take people who never come back. Her words sent chills down his spine. Suddenly the security lights flashed red. Unauthorized access detected, a robotic voice announced. Ethan cursed under his breath. They tracked me. He looked at Mira. Stay quiet. Don't tell anyone I was here. He stepped out just as 2 soldiers approached. Everything fine, Officer Vale? One asked. Yeah, Ethan said quickly. Just checking the prisoner. Orders from Dax. The soldiers nodded and left. Ethan exhaled, his heart racing. Outside the base, the morning sun rose over the metallic skyline. Ethan walked into the light, his mind spinning with questions. Why would the High Council classify a harmless alien girl as a weapon? Why erase her records? And why did Division R want her alive? He pulled out his communicator and deleted his search history. Then he looked up at the sky, where research ships floated like silent predators. Something inside him whispered that he couldn't ignore this. Not this time. That evening, as rain started again, Ethan stood at the edge of the alien district. The streets were quiet. The broken house where Lyra had lived stood dark and empty. He found a piece of fabric on the ground, torn purple cloth stained with blood. He picked it up and clenched it tightly. He made a decision. Tomorrow he would go against orders. He would find Lyra, and he would uncover the truth. The rain had stopped, but the air still smelled of smoke and metal. Deep inside the Alliance detention complex, a single light flickered in cell 47. There sat Mira, the purple alien girl. Her hands were chained, her skin bruised, her silver eyes dim with exhaustion. The cell was cold, no bed, no blanket, just silence and fear. She had cried until her tears ran dry. Now she only whispered her sister's name. Lyra, please be safe. Every few hours, a mechanical arm slid a tray of food through the slot, but she barely touched it. She wasn't hungry, just scared. Scared that her sister was gone forever. On the other side of the city, Ethan Vale walked through the fog, his black coat dripping from the rain. He had spent all night searching for Lyra. Every street, every alley, no luck. But he refused to give up. He finally reached the alien slum district where the poorest lived under broken neon signs and rusted bridges. Children with glowing eyes watched him from behind walls. When they saw his human face, they hid. Ethan lowered his weapon and spoke softly to an old alien woman sitting by a fire. I'm looking for a purple-skinned woman about this tall. Her name's Lyra. Have you seen her? The woman stared at him with cloudy eyes. Humans took her sister, she rasped. Now she hides like a ghost. Why, you plan to take her too? No, Ethan said firmly. I'm here to help her. The woman looked at him for a long time, then nodded toward the ruins at the edge of the district. She hides near the old reactor tower. But be careful, human. Many eyes watch her. The reactor tower was half collapsed, surrounded by twisted pipes and flickering sparks. Ethan moved silently through the rubble, his scanner beeping softly. Then a whisper, stop. He froze. From the shadows, Lyra appeared, holding a piece of metal like a blade. Her purple skin glowed faintly under the broken lights. Her eyes were sharp but full of pain. Don't move, she warned. I know what you are, I'm a cop. Ethan raised his hands. I'm not here to arrest you, Lyra. Then why are you here? She asked bitterly. To finish what your soldiers started? No, he said quietly. I saw your sister's arrest. I know something's wrong. Her file is classified, even to me. They erased her records. That means someone powerful wants her gone. Lyra's expression changed slightly. She lowered her makeshift weapon but didn't relax. Why should I trust you? Humans lie. Humans kill. Ethan took a slow breath. Because I'm risking my life being here. If they find me talking to you, I'll vanish too. She looked at him closely. His voice didn't sound like a lie. His eyes were tired, the kind that had seen too much. Finally, she said softly, they said Mira stole data, but she can't even read your systems. She's just a child. I tried to protect her. Ethan nodded. That's what I thought. Someone framed her. Lyra's voice cracked. They'll hurt her, won't they? Ethan hesitated. If she's in Division R? Yes, her hands trembled. Please, she whispered, you're human. They'll listen to you. You can save her. Ethan looked away. I'll try. But there's something you need to tell me first. Why did the Alliance mark you and your sister as threats? Lyra took a deep breath. Because we saw something we weren't supposed to. He frowned. What do you mean? Before she could answer, a red dot appeared on her shoulder. Ethan's instincts screamed. Down! He shouted, grabbing her and diving behind a metal beam. A sniper shot burned through the air, hitting the wall with a burst of sparks. Lyra gasped. They found us! Ethan pulled out his pulse pistol and scanned the rooftops. A shadow moved above, a soldier with a long-range rifle. Stay low, Ethan said. He fired 3 quick shots. The sniper ducked, glass shattered, and the sound of engines roared overhead. They're sending drones, Lyra cried. Ethan grabbed her hand. We need to move now. They ran through the ruins as blue searchlights cut across the ground. Drones fired beams that melted concrete. Ethan shot one down, sparks flying everywhere. They dove into a drainage tunnel, gasping for breath. Water dripped from the ceiling. Lyra's hands shook. Ethan checked the scanner. The signals were fading. "We're safe. For now." Lyra stared at him. "You saved me." He gave a tired smile. "You screamed, 'Please, she's innocent.' That's something most people stopped believing in. I couldn't just watch you die." For a moment she said nothing, just looked at him, eyes full of confusion and gratitude. Then she whispered, "If you really want to save Mira, you must know what they're hiding." "What is it?" Ethan asked. Lyra looked around nervously, her voice trembling. "Division R is not a research lab. It's a place where they turn people into weapons." Ethan's blood ran cold. The tunnel was silent except for the slow drip of water echoing in the dark. Ethan and Lyra sat against the cold wall, both breathing hard after their narrow escape. The air smelled of damp rust and oil. Lyra's hands still shook as she whispered, "They tried to kill me. They really tried to kill me." Ethan reloaded his pulse pistol and scanned the tunnel with his wrist sensor. "You're lucky I was there. That shot was meant for your head." She hugged her knees. "I told you. They won't let us live. We saw something they want buried forever." Ethan turned toward her. "Then tell me what it is. What did you see?" Lyra looked down. Her eyes shimmered faintly violet in the dim light. "It was supposed to be a peace meeting. My sister and I were working as translators in a human lab. We thought we were helping both sides talk. But instead," she paused, her voice breaking, "we saw them test on living people. Aliens, our kind, injected with machines that controlled their minds." Ethan's blood went cold. "Mind control tech? That's forbidden. It violates every treaty." Lyra nodded. "They called it Project Halo. My sister recorded a piece of the data before we escaped. That's why they framed her." Ethan clenched his jaw. "So Division R wants to silence both of you?" "Yes," Lyra said quietly. "And now you know too." A faint hum filled the air. Ethan's sensor beeped once, a small red dot blinking. He looked up, alarmed. "Move!" he shouted, grabbing Lyra and rolling to the side. A laser beam sliced through the tunnel wall, melting metal where they had just been sitting. A flying assassin drone zipped through the air, its red eye glowing like fire. It fired again, missing by inches, Lyra screamed. Ethan pulled her behind a metal pipe and returned fire, hitting the drone's wing. Sparks exploded, but it kept coming. "This thing's persistent," Ethan shouted. Lyra's voice trembled. "It's not just a drone. It's guided by someone, a human sniper." Another blast hit the wall. Pieces of concrete rained down. Ethan aimed, waiting for the drone's next move. The moment it turned, he fired a direct shot into its eye. The machine exploded in a burst of smoke and light. The tunnel shook with the blast. Lyra covered her head, coughing. When the smoke cleared, Ethan pulled her to her feet. "We have to go. That shot will attract more of them." They ran through the tunnels until they reached an old service exit. Outside, the early morning sun was just rising over the metal city, painting the fog orange. Steam hissed from broken pipes. They climbed up into a narrow street between abandoned factories. Ethan stopped to catch his breath. Lyra leaned against the wall, trembling. "They'll never stop, will they?" Ethan looked around. "Not until they think you're dead." He opened a comm channel on his wrist device. "Veil to command," he said. Requesting backup, then he stopped. The signal wasn't secure. His own commander's voice came through, cold and calm. "Ethan Vale, you are to stand down immediately. Return to base. Do not engage the alien asset again." Ethan froze. "Commander Dax?" "Yes," the voice replied. "You've already been marked as compromised. Walk away, Vale, or you'll disappear too." The line cut off. Ethan's pulse raced. "They're tracking me now. We need to disappear." Lyra looked at him with wide eyes. "Disappear? Where?" "There's an old junkyard near the southern edge. My contact can hide us for a while." He pulled up his hood and guided her through the maze of streets, keeping to the shadows. They reached the junkyard, a graveyard of old ships, engines, and scrap metal. Ethan pushed open the heavy gate. Inside, an old mechanic named Rollo emerged, wiping grease from his hands. "Ethan?" Rollo asked, surprised. "Haven't seen you in months." His eyes moved to Lyra. "You brought company. And trouble." Ethan nodded. "I need a favor. We need a safe room. No scanners, no signals." Rollo sighed but nodded. "Follow me." He led them into an underground bunker beneath a broken shuttle. You got one night. After that, we burn everything. Lyra sank onto a chair, exhausted. Ethan sat across from her. You saved that data, right? The one your sister recorded. Lyra nodded slowly. It's hidden inside her necklace. She never takes it off. Ethan's eyes widened. Her necklace? Then if Division R still has her? Lyra finished his sentence in a whisper. They already have the evidence. For a moment, silence filled the room. Ethan looked at the floor. Then we have to get her out. If that data leaks, the whole Alliance will know what Division R did. It could start a war. Lyra's voice was soft but firm. Then we start it with truth. Suddenly the power flickered. The lights dimmed. A red laser dot appeared on the wall. Ethan grabbed Lyra and dove as a bullet shattered the glass above them. Rollo screamed. Another shot rang out. Ethan rolled to cover, firing back toward the window. Outside, he caught a glimpse of a dark figure, a sniper on the roof. Go! He shouted to Lyra. Through the back! Lyra hesitated. What about you? I'll cover you. She ran, ducking through the narrow corridor as gunfire tore through the walls. Ethan fired again and again until his weapon overheated. Then silence. Only the sound of dripping oil. He turned and the sniper was gone. Lyra stood by the exit, trembling. He was aiming for me. Ethan nodded grimly. That means you're close to something they fear. He looked up at the smoke-filled sky. We're running out of time. If we want to save Mira, we have to move tonight. The night in Nova Haven felt heavier than usual. Above the shining towers, silent ships hovered like dark angels watching from the clouds. Below, the city's underbelly burned with secrets. In the underground hideout, Ethan Vale stood beside a flickering light panel, studying the stolen map he'd taken from a classified terminal. Lines, symbols, and coordinates glowed faintly in blue. The words, Division R, Project Halo Facility, pulsed at the top. Across from him, Lyra sat quietly, still shaken from the sniper attack. Her purple skin looked pale under the dim light. So this is where they took my sister? She asked softly. Ethan nodded. Yes. The coordinates point to a restricted zone, an orbital research station above Titan's shadow. No one gets in or out without special clearance. Lyra's hands tightened around the edge of the table. Then we go there. Ethan looked at her. It's not that simple. The station is guarded by automated drones and military AI. Even getting close would trigger their defense grid. She met his eyes, defiant. They have my sister, Ethan. I don't care how dangerous it is. I'll die before I leave her there. Ethan sighed. I know. He looked down, then whispered, I owe her that much. And you. For a moment, silence filled the room, the kind that carries both fear and hope. Hours later, the plan began. Rollo, the mechanic, worked fast, fixing an old patrol ship. Sparks flew as he rewired circuits and replaced the engine core. This bird won't survive a battle, Rollo grunted, but it'll get you close enough to make trouble. That's all we need, Ethan said. Lyra stood beside the ship, adjusting her cloak. What happens when we find Mira? Ethan loaded his pulse rifle. We get her out. Then we expose everything Division R has done. Rollo snorted. You're planning to burn the Alliance itself, Vale. You'll be hunted for the rest of your life. Ethan gave a small, tired smile. Then I'll finally be free. As they flew into the dark sky, the city lights faded below like dying stars. The ship shook, engines humming weakly. Lyra stared out the window. Beyond the clouds, the cold emptiness of space stretched endlessly. She's out there somewhere, Lyra whispered. I can feel her. Ethan glanced at her. You and your sister are connected? Yes, she said softly. Our kind shares energy through emotion. When she's afraid, I feel it. Even across space. Ethan turned back to the controls. Then let's follow that fear. They reached orbit within an hour. The stars shimmered around them like silver dust. And then, in the distance, the Division R station came into view. A massive structure wrapped in steel rings and glowing red lights, like a floating cage. Ethan switched off the main engines. We'll drift in quietly using momentum. Lyra nodded but stared in awe. It looks alive. Like it's breathing, he frowned. That's because it is. The scanner flashed red and life signals, hundreds of them pulsing inside the station. They're using alien bioforms to power the facility, Ethan realized, shocked. It's not just research. It's harvesting, Lyra's voice broke. They're using us as fuel. Before he could respond, the ship jolted. The control lights turned red. "We've been scanned," Ethan said sharply. "Brace yourself." A spotlight hit the ship and a robotic voice boomed through the comm. "Unidentified vessel, you are entering restricted space. Power down immediately." Ethan gritted his teeth. "Hold on." He cut the power completely, letting the ship float like debris. After a tense silence, the scanner calmed. The station didn't fire. Lyra looked at him in disbelief. "That worked?" He smirked. "Sometimes pretending to be dead is the best way to live." They attached to the station's underside through a maintenance vent. Ethan pried open the hatch and cold air hissed out. They climbed through the narrow tunnel into the dark interior. The hallway inside was lined with glass chambers. Each one glowed faintly, and inside floated alien bodies. Some were sleeping, others weren't. Lyra covered her mouth, tears forming in her eyes. "They're experimenting on them." "On my people?" Ethan swallowed hard. "This is worse than I thought." As they walked deeper, they heard distant machinery humming, and voices. Ethan signaled for silence. They hid behind a console as two scientists passed by. "Subject 47B's neural resistance remains unusually high," one said. "Her DNA fusion rejected the Halo code again." Lyra's eyes widened. "That's Mira's code number."
"She's alive,"
Ethan whispered. "We find her, fast." They slipped into the next chamber, a large room filled with monitors and tubes. And there, at the center, was Mira, floating inside a glass pod, unconscious, wires connected to her arms and spine. Blue light pulsed through her veins. Lyra rushed forward. "Mira!" Ethan grabbed her arm. "Wait, there's a guard drone." The machine turned, aiming its plasma rifle. Ethan fired first. The drone exploded, setting off alarms. Red lights flashed. A robotic voice screamed, "Containment breach! Intruders detected!" Ethan shot the glass open. Fluid spilled across the floor. Mira fell into Lyra's arms, weak and trembling. Her voice was barely a whisper. "You came for me." Lyra held her close, tears falling. "Always." Ethan checked the doorway. Dozens of footsteps thundered closer. "We need to move now." Mira opened her eyes slightly, her voice faint. "They'll never let us leave." "The Halo code. It's already inside me. What does that mean?" Ethan asked, her pupils glowed blue. "It means if I die, the entire station dies with me." Ethan froze. "What have they done to you?" Red sirens flashed across the dark corridors of Division R station. Metal walls shook as alarms screamed, "Containment breach!" Unauthorized life forms detected. Ethan Vale ran down the hallway, his pulse rifle ready, his heart pounding. Behind him, Lyra half-carried Mira, whose weak body trembled with every step. Blue light still pulsed under her skin, glowing through the veins on her arms like living electricity. "We're almost there," Ethan shouted over the alarm. "Docking bay ahead." Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "She's burning up." Mira groaned softly. "It hurts. I can feel the machines inside me." Ethan looked back at her and terrified. The once gentle alien girl now carried the power of a weapon built to destroy worlds, and she was losing control. They turned a corner and stopped. A metal gate had fallen, blocking their way. Ethan cursed. "They're locking us in." Lyra knelt beside her sister, her voice breaking. "We can't stop here." "She needs help." Ethan searched the wall for a control panel and found one sparking. He ripped it open and started rewiring the system manually. His hands moved fast, sweat running down his face. Lyra looked around nervously. "They're coming." Ethan gritted his teeth. "I know." He forced the wires together, a burst of light, and the gate screeched open. "Go!" He shouted, "Run!" They dashed through, but as they entered the docking bay, something stopped them cold. A squad of armed soldiers stood waiting. At their center, Commander Dax, "Going somewhere, Vale?" Dax's voice echoed through the metal hall. His armor gleamed under the red lights. "You've caused quite the mess." Ethan aimed his rifle at him. "Move aside, Dax, I'm taking them." Dax laughed. "You've lost your mind. That creature," he pointed at Mira, "isn't a person anymore. She's property of the Alliance." Lyra stepped in front of her sister, trembling but fearless. "She's not property. She's my sister." Dax smirked. "And you're a mistake, both of you." Ethan's jaw tightened. "You knew, didn't you?" "About the experiments." "About Project Halo," Dax shrugged. "Of course. I helped build it." The Alliance wanted control and peace through obedience. "With Halo, we can end every rebellion before it begins." Ethan's voice turned cold. You call slavery peace? Dax's grin faded. You think too small, Vale. The council will reward me when I deliver them the prototype and the traitor who helped her escape. Ethan aimed higher. Then you'll have to kill me first. Dax sighed. Gladly. Gunfire exploded through the air. Ethan rolled for cover, returning fire. Sparks and smoke filled the docking bay. Lyra shielded Mira behind a crate. The noise was deafening. Plasma bolts hitting metal, grenades flashing. One of the soldiers fell. Another screamed. Ethan fought like a machine, but he was outnumbered. Then Dax's voice came again, calm and cruel. Vale, you can't save her. The moment that alien's pulse stops, the halo system detonates. The entire station will burn, including you. Ethan froze. What did you say? Dax smirked. You didn't know? That's the beauty of it. The weapon dies, and everything dies with it, Lyra gasped. No, Mira. Ethan turned to her, panic in his voice. We can't let her die. We have to stabilize her. Dax lifted his plasma rifle. Or I end this right now. He fired. The beam shot toward them, but Lyra jumped in front of her sister. The blast hit her shoulder, sending her crashing into the wall. Lyra! Mira screamed. Ethan fired back, hitting Dax in the leg. The commander fell, shouting orders. Kill them! Kill them all. Ethan dragged Lyra behind cover. Blood stained her arm, glowing purple. She looked at him weakly. You have to take her. And go. No, Ethan said firmly. We all leave together. Mira clutched her sister's hand. I won't leave without her. Ethan saw the fear in their eyes and in the pain. He knew Dax's men wouldn't stop. He needed a distraction. He pressed a button on his wristband. Rollo, he said into the comm, do you copy? Static, then a faint voice. Vale, you better not be where I think you are. I'm there, Ethan said. And I need your ship in the next 60 seconds. You'll blow the whole hangar. Rollo shouted. Ethan smiled grimly. That's the point. Ethan threw a smoke grenade and ran into the haze, firing wildly to draw attention. The soldiers shot back blindly, their aim broken by the smoke. Dax coughed and tried to stand. You can't win, Vale. You're fighting your own kind, Ethan shouted back through the smoke. Then maybe it's time humanity remembers what kind means. At that moment, a loud roar filled the air. A ship's engines. The hangar doors burst open as Rollo's old patrol craft crashed through the barrier, guns blazing. Get in! Rollo yelled through the speakers. Ethan lifted Mira into his arms. Lyra stumbled beside him, holding her shoulder. They ran for the ship as explosions lit the hangar. Dax fired one last shot. It grazed Ethan's armor, burning his side. But he kept going. The ramp closed behind them as the ship lifted off. Outside the window, Division R station burned, alarms blaring. Mira lay on the floor, gasping, her body glowing brighter. Ethan, I can feel it spreading. He knelt beside her. Stay with me. We'll find a cure. She shook her head weakly. No cure. I am the weapon now. Ethan looked at her, pain in his voice. Then we'll save you anyway. Behind them, the stars filled the window, and the burning station grew smaller, until it exploded in a silent flash of light. Far away, on a hidden communication screen, a shadowed figure watched the explosion and smiled. The prototype has escaped, he said. Send the order. Project Halo must live on. The stars stretched endlessly across the dark sea of space. Ethan Vale sat in the cockpit, staring at the glowing lights on the dashboard. Behind him, the engines hummed softly, the only sound left after hours of silence. Mira lay on a stretcher, her breathing uneven. Her body still shimmered faintly with that strange blue light, the curse of Project Halo. Beside her, Lyra sat holding her sister's hand, whispering words in her alien tongue, a prayer only the stars could understand. Rollo's voice broke the silence. We're running low on power, Vale. We can't keep the cloak up for long. Ethan looked out the window. How far are we from Alliance space? Too close, Rollo said grimly. They'll find us soon. Ethan turned back to Lyra. She's stable for now, but the energy inside her is growing. If it overloads, Lyra looked up, her eyes full of fear. It will destroy everything. This ship, us, maybe even the nearby colonies. Mira stirred weakly. I can hear them. Ethan leaned closer. Hear who? The voices, she whispered. The network. The humans. Their ships. They're coming. Suddenly alarms flashed red, Rollo cursed. They found us. A fleet of Alliance warships appeared on the radar, black triangles against the stars, engines glowing like angry suns. Transmission incoming, Rollo said. A holographic image flickered to life. Commander Dax, alive but wounded, his face burned from the station explosion. Ethan Vale. Dax's cold voice filled the room. You've run far enough. Surrender the alien weapon and I might let you live. Ethan's jaw tightened. She's not a weapon, Dax, she's a girl, Dax sneered. She's Halo, the key to control. You think you saved her, but you've only doomed her. That code inside her, it's not just power. It's command. Soon she'll obey whoever holds the signal. Lyra stepped forward, furious. She will never obey you. Dax smirked. We'll see. The hologram vanished. Ethan turned to Rollo. How many missiles do we have left? 3, Rollo replied. And maybe 2 minutes before they reach firing range. Ethan nodded slowly. Then we make it count. Lyra stared at him, realizing what he meant. You're not thinking of fighting them all, are you? He smiled sadly. We don't have to win. We just have to buy her time. Lyra's voice shook. You'll die. Maybe, he said softly. But if she survives, it's worth it. The first blast hit. The ship trembled violently. Warning lights screamed. Ethan gripped the controls, dodging through debris as blue plasma bolts streaked past. Rollo fired missiles toward the nearest cruiser. Explosions lit up the darkness like fireworks. 2 down. Rollo shouted. Good, Ethan said through clenched teeth. Let's make them remember us. Lyra ran to Mira's side. Hold on, sister. Please hold on. Mira's eyes fluttered open, glowing brighter. Ethan, she whispered. I can feel their signal. I can stop it. What do you mean? He asked. If I connect to the network, I can shut down Project Halo everywhere, but it will kill me. Ethan froze. No, there has to be another way. Mira smiled weakly. There isn't. I was created to obey, but I can choose to end it. Lyra's tears fell silently. No, Mira, please. Mira looked at her sister gently. You once said being free means choosing your own path. This is mine. Outside, another explosion rocked the ship. Ethan turned back to the console. If you do this, every system in the Alliance will crash. You'll bring down their entire control grid. Then maybe, Mira whispered, they'll learn what freedom costs. She reached for the terminal. The blue light spread from her fingertips into the ship's systems, lighting the walls like living fire. Mira, wait, Lyra cried. Ethan grabbed Lyra, holding her close. Let her do it. Let her finish it. Mira's voice grew calm. Goodbye, sister. Goodbye, Ethan. The ship went silent. Then, a blinding surge of light shot from the vessel, spreading across space like a pulse. Every warship around them flickered. Their engines died, their weapons froze. The signal raced through the stars, breaking every chain of control across the Alliance. The sky turned white. When the light faded, the silence was endless. The warships drifted lifeless. The stars returned, cold and peaceful. Lyra opened her eyes. The console was dead. Smoke filled the air. Ethan sat slumped against the wall, barely conscious. Mira? Lyra whispered. She crawled toward the stretcher. But it was empty. Only a faint blue crystal lay there, glowing softly. Lyra held it in her trembling hands, pressing it to her heart. She's gone. But she's free. Ethan looked out the window. She did it. The signal's gone. No more control. No more Halo. Lyra looked at him through tears. She saved everyone, even those who hunted us. He smiled weakly. That's what makes her human. As the broken ship drifted toward a distant sun, Lyra placed the glowing crystal on the dashboard. It shimmered softly like a heartbeat among the stars. Ethan closed his eyes, whispering, Rest now, Mira. The galaxy remembers. And somewhere beyond sight, among the constellations, a faint voice seemed to echo back. Thank you.